what are some of these players going to be like? Because the player comp, we all like. We like knowing what we're getting. And I tend to think the best of people. So yeah, I'm going to actually compare these guys to people that I think have been outstanding in the NFL, because who wants to be compared to somebody who wasn't? Quite honestly, ask yourself that question. I walk into your job and I want to compare you to the guy that's actually mopping the floor. You're probably going to take offense to that, as opposed to me comparing you to the guy that's running the company. All right? So bear that in mind. But the first guy that I want to talk about in this list of running backs that I'm going to compare is Najee Harris. All right, there's a lot of things to like about Najee Harris, and there's a lot of things to like about this comp. But at the top of the list is Najee's going to say some stuff, right? Najee's so much fun, and he's always saying the right thing. Like, my favorite is him calling out a guy that covered him in high school at a playoff press conference, telling him not to act brand new. Tell me who you are. I know you. You covered me 3 years ago when I was in Cali. He's also the man that's going to show up here and tell you what he really thinks about the U.S. women's national team and how Megan Rapinoe is doing a great job of really standing up for herself, standing up for that team, and showing us the way. He's also the dude who is going to mock you, NFL draft analyst, if you don't think highly of him. I love this. I really do. But I love his game as much as I love his personality. And he's so good with the ball in his hands, but he's also so good at catching the ball out of the backfield that the comp here, I think, is a little on the nose. So much so that if it turns out the way that I think it's going to turn out for Najee Harris, you're going to be talking about him and this player in the same breath in a very short amount of time. And you can see this because Najee's the guy who could show up running and catching in the SEC championship game against the Florida team we all thought was pretty doggone good. He's also the guy that's going to go for all the yards and get all the buckets in a barn burner against Ole Miss. He is the kind of guy that you can put in a position to be your workhorse, whether that is 7 yards deep in the backfield or whether that is splitting out, running the wheel route, catching the ball on the fly. And that's why I think the comp for him is Saquon Barkley. All right? It's about, one, have you seen the size of Najee's thighs? Have you seen the size of Saquon Barkley's thighs? I mean, they called him man Saquon. We're going to have to come up with a nickname for Najee because it's like that. But you've seen Saquon when he catches the ball in the backfield. You've also seen him when he gets just a little bit of daylight and how he can spurt right through it. And my favorite part of his game and Najee's, if they got a step on you, they keep the step. And they might add 2 or 3. You're not going to run them down. They are not 40 to 60-yard tailbacks. They are 100-yard tailbacks. It's going to be wild for me to see who drafts him and who ends up with this outstanding tailback. The next guy on the list for me, Travis Etienne. All right? So Travis Etienne shows up to Clemson. Can't catch the football. So much so that I'm over here making Featherstone jokes because I love necessary roughness, but also because his own teammates and coaches nicknamed him Stone Hands. Yo! I get that he playing tailback. I get all of that. But you got to be able to catch the ball at this level in this era. And he took such offense to being called Stone Hands that's what he made his career about here toward the end of it, was catching the ball out of the backfield and being able to do something with it, right? And I get how some folks are already trying to make a comp to another NFL tailback. But when I look at him and I see what he's able to do between the tackles and how he is able to find space and you won't catch him either, and how you can really make that man into a 30 carry a game back, not unlike Derrick Henry, but still get some more bang out of that with him being able to catch the ball in the backfield, yeah, I can see it. I can see easily how a Travis Etienne looks a lot like Sean Alexander when he's at the Seahawks. Okay, Sean Alexander coming out of Boone. Sean Alexander was so cold in high school coming out of Boone that they retired his jersey while he was a senior. What? That's how cold you are? And then you would end up at Alabama doing Alabama stuff. And then, of course, you get to the league and you become one of the best tailbacks to ever do it. all shouts to Sean Alexander. But I also think that Travis Etienne has the durability and the ability to be not just your bell cow back, but your star player. And that's not something we get to say about a whole lot of tailbacks. Matter of fact, take a look at the Super Bowl champs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Leonard Fournette is not your star player. Ronald Jones is not your star player, okay? It's your quarterback, and it's that delicious assortment of wideouts, okay? And I'm classifying Rob Gronkowski and Cam Brate as wideouts here. And that's before we talk about what O.J. Howard might have been, right? And then you got Mike Evans out there. You got Chris Godwin out there. You got Scotty Miller out there. You got Tyler Vaughn. Like, yeah, the idea that you would have had a star tailback out there means that that dude is going to be on another level. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me in the least to find out that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would like to be in the Travis Etienne business because, quite honestly, which one of us would not? Okay, so the next player on the list that I want to talk about is Javonte Williams, coming out of North Carolina. You'll know that we had UNC coach Mac Brown on the show, and he had talked about, look, we got to replace 4,000 yards of offense because that's what we had. And I truly believe the best tandem of tailbacks in the entire country last year were at UNC, and one of them in particular was outstanding, catching the ball out of the backfield, but also being shifty on his feet, beating people one-on-one, and really doing the thing that Gale Sayers said you should do as a great tailback, okay? Javonte Williams and this player I'm coming to both have this all the way. Gale Sayers said, you should be able to beat one man 100% of the time. He said you should be able to beat two men 75% of the time, and you should be able to beat three men 50% of the time. That is what a great NFL tailback ought to be able to do. That's what Javonte Williams can do. And that's why I think it's going to be really a tall task for British Brooks and Ty Chandler to replace the production coming out of UNC, but also why I think the team that drafts Javonte Williams is going to get somebody who's a lot like a dude that came out of Florida State, showed up in Minnesota. All he did was replace one Adrian Peterson at Minnesota in Dalvin Cook. I see the comp there because of the size of the two of them, but also their ability to be breakaway tailbacks. They are game wreckers, given the opportunity. Put that man in a great position to succeed, and he will do just that. Next dude on the list, you also heard from Trey Sermon, right? Outstanding interview, and really one of my most fun interviews because there's just a whole lot going on there for me personally. Also, my man is come up to Buckethead. Like, if you from Atlanta or you've been through Atlanta, you know Mechanicsville is not Buckethead. You know that College Park is not Buckethead. You know that North Gwinnett is not Buckethead. All right? That's what my man came up to. I love it. I love it. But also, what I love about Trey Sermon is he's gotten better, not just each and every year, but as the game goes along and as the season goes along. So I talked with a former running backs coach in the Big 12. And I was asking about some tailbacks around. And I said, tell me what the weakness is for Oklahoma. You know, it's my team, but I'm also just trying to ask. And it's like, they don't have a Sermon type. I said, what's a Sermon type? A Sermon type closes your game for you. He is the guy you trust to hold the ball and to carry it all the way out when you got a lead. Okay, that's what the preacher man would do at Oklahoma. So what the preacher man was able to do at Ohio State, and you saw his last three games, last two because Alabama didn't go so well. 3 games, yeah, Michigan State, yeah, Northwestern, and Clemson. Last 3 games were his best games, all right? So much so that Ryan Day was out there saying, we didn't know what we had in this dude because he got here, pandemic hits, we're going through spring practice, but we're also looking around going, yo, I thought this dude was going to compete with Master to be our RB1, and we haven't seen much of that. And it wasn't going so well. But as he got more touches and he got more opportunities, he became the dude that holds the single game rushing record at Ohio State, which had not been broken for 25 years and was held by a Heisman winner in Eddie George. Okay? That's what kind of talent he has. and he can catch the ball out of the backfield for you. The guy that I think that he is most like in the NFL is another dude that needs a little bit of time, but given a little time, just like Novocaine, always works. James Conner, okay? When James Conner's at Pittsburgh, I would look at this dude and be like, why did they keep feeding that dude the ball? Because with every touch he got, he would get more yards. He would get into the game and would become the guy that you would rely on late in the game to salt it away. I think Trey Sermon can be that guy for an NFL team. And the last guy on my running backs comp list is Chuba Hubbard. So I got to see Chuba up close for the last 3 years, okay? I even got to see him and Spencer Sanders and Tylan Wallace get up there in January and tell everybody they're going to win the national championship 2020. Probably wish they didn't do that, but I appreciate the cockiness because if you don't believe in you, don't nobody believe in you. I get all that, but you're also talking about Chuba Hubbard, who's coming off of 2,000 yards rushing at Oklahoma State. Last dude to do that, yeah, he a Pro Football Hall of Famer and quite literally the greatest tailback ever of all time. Barry Sanders is so cold, he didn't need no offensive lineman. Like, we got jokes about Barry Sanders. We say, nah, my dudes never block. I think of Barry Sanders. Like, we got old jokes out there. Chuba had dudes that block. All right, so I don't want to make that offensive lineman at OSU. Calm down. I'm not doing that. I am saying that when he hit a hole, you weren't going to catch him. This is a man that was training to run in the Olympics in the 100 meters for his native Canada before he decided he was going to be a football player. Has that kind of speed. And I saw it as he wrecked the University of Tulsa for over 250 yards on the ground. Okay? And he kept doing that to everybody they played throughout the season. I think people have forgotten how good Chuba Hubbard is because Oklahoma State faltered toward the end and he didn't come out just banging in 2020. It's also the reason why I think that somebody is going to just luck into one of the better tailbacks that we've seen here in the past 5 years. Another thing I love about Chuba Hubbard and this comp to him is he has proven he also can carry the load. You want to give him 25 carries, he's good with that. You want to give him 35, he's good with that. He is fine being your offense. And he does not mind the defense knowing that they are coming after you. People that stack the box with Chuba Hubbard 7 yards deep, and it does not matter. Last guy that I could think about who had it like that, Ahman Green. When Ahman Green was at the Green Bay Packers, be like, hey, we're going to give it to the man's in the back, and we dare you to stop him. And for years, could nobody do that. These are all, I think, RB1s for any NFL franchise that wants to get them. But they find the right fit, they find the right situation. I think we're going to see these men surprise even you and I who are hardened college football fans. But those are my RB comps. Let me know what you think.